Good evening and welcome to the Vet Plus One with your host, Adam Miller. And on today's show, we're going to cover the Milwaukee Brewers and on the very first episode of the Brewers Coverage. Now, today was a very interesting and very mind-blowing and crazy day in Milwaukee for all Brewers fans. And throughout sports, for that matter. As the Milwaukee Brewers, who are in talks of trading and signing quite a few highly touted players. And today, they swung a deal to trade for Christian Yelich of the Miami Marlins, who Christian Yelich demanded a trade, who we all knew demanded a trade from the Miami Marlins because he wanted to play for a contender. Now, Milwaukee, I wouldn't say they're quite a contender yet, but swinging a trade for Christian Yelich makes this team a very intriguing team to watch. And I'm very impressed they traded for him. But at what cost, you might ask? Well, if you follow baseball and you follow the Brewers, you know they gave up one of the best players in all of baseball, rated number 32 in all of baseball as outfielders and prospects in Lewis Brinson. Now, while that may seem like a very daunting thing to give up, and it may feel like the Brewers gave up too much. I mean, I would say yes, they gave up a little bit too much in a sense that they gave up Lewis Brinson, but let's be honest. There was not going to be room for Lewis Brinson to play in center field. The Brewers did what they needed to do to be competitive, and they had the depth and the talent in the deepest part of their farm system, which is the center field, or the outfield, I should say. So they swung a deal for Lewis Brinson. And I think that was a marvelous trade by David Stearns. I really like David Stearns, our GM. He's done a wonderful job getting us the players that we need to compete for a World Series. Something I've been dying to see in Milwaukee my entire life. I was born and raised in Milwaukee and love the Brewers all my heart. I mean, I can remember back to 2010 when we went to NLCS and we lost to the Cardinals. I was literally devastated because I really thought we'd go to the World Series that year. And I'm pretty sure a lot of Milwaukee Brewers fans or people who live in Milwaukee can relate to that and say that we feel the same way. We just want to see a World Series in Milwaukee that we have never seen before. We had some good teams back in the 80s. Before my time, some really good teams with Robin Yount and Paul Molitor and Ted Simmons and Raleigh Fingers and so on. The Brewers are making the right moves to be competitive and to push for the division title and to show the Cubs and the Cardinals that we are here to challenge you for that division and to challenge the rest of the league for a World Series. If the Royals can do it the way they did in 2015, there's no reason why we can't. Now back to this trade. The Brewers traded for Christian Yelich, agreed to trade for Christian Yelich, Miami Marlins. They got 4 prospects for Christian Yelich. Yes, 4 players for one. That sounds like a bit of a bad trade, but if you think about it, we gave up, out of all those players, maybe 2 of them are really good prospects. Granted, 3 of them are our top 10. You gave up Lewis Brinson, who we know is going to be a very good player, who has a lot of power, has a solid swing. He just can't stay in the field because he's not healthy. Then you got Isan Diaz, who is a highly touted middle infielder or second baseman, who was a prized prospect in the trade that we sent Gene Segura to Arizona for Aaron Hill, as well as Isan Diaz. He will also be a very good player. And then we just threw a couple of shoo-ins, and Monte Harris, who's another outfield prospect who would never seen playing time in Milwaukee, let's be honest. And also Jordan Yamamoto, a starting pitcher. Both those players are going to have will have a bright future. I think Jordan Yamamoto will be more of a late inning relief pitcher or a middle inning relief pitcher. He's not going to factor into being a starting pitcher, in my opinion. While Monte Harris, he seems more like a utility player or somebody that doesn't come off the bench. Has a good swing. He's a very good defender. I think he has a bright future. I just don't see him being that star player like the likes of Isan Diaz and especially Lewis Brinson. While it's sad to see Lewis Brinson and Isan Diaz go, however, I'm really excited for both of their futures and that Lewis Brinson finally gets a chance to be a regular starting center fielder now that he is in Miami with the Marlins. And same with Isan Diaz. He will get the chance to start every day at second base now that the Miami Marlins traded D. Gordon. They got Starling Castro, but I don't think he'll last that long there. And then it was reported later on in the day that the Brewers signed a former Brewer who they drafted in the 17th round of the 2004 MLB draft. Not the 17th round, the 17th pick, I believe it was, and Loranzo Cain, who we traded back in 2010 for Zach Greinke, in which we gave up Jake Orduzio, Lorenzo Cain, and a few other players that I can't remember their names, but they all became pretty good players. Oh, Jeremy Jeffries was one of them. But that was a tremendous pick or trade that we did back then for Zach Greinke. That was whoa, we were really contending, and that's what really pushed over the top to make it NLCS when we traded for Zach Greinke. But it's really nice that we're bringing back somebody like Lorenzo Cain, who I really liked. He established himself as a perennial center fielder. He's a great defensive player. He was a finalist in the Gold Glove in center field last year. I believe he won a Gold Glove, and in 2015 in the World Series, he was a second runner-up for the AL MVP. I think he's going to be really good. The question is, where are we going to play him? Now, you can't play Christian Yelich and Lorenzo Cain half and half. That just wouldn't work out with what we gave up for them. Especially with Lorenzo Cain that we signed him to 5 years, $80 million. I'm glad we brought somebody back that we drafted. I assume that we are going to have to move Lorenzo Cain to either right or left field. Or Christian Yelich to left or right field. He's a very talented player, so he can play either. He can probably play either position or move him to the infield. Now, I think that with those two that signing that trade, it's really good to see the Brewers actually fall through on rumors that they're rumored to sign people. This shows the Brewers are ready to win and that David Stearns is making smart moves. I think we really hit on David Stearns when we brought him in as GM, seeing the things he did with Houston, who led Houston to win the World Series this year. In 2017. Now, I believe the Brewers are able to now move either Ryan Braun or Domingo Santana and Keon Broxton. Keon Broxton probably won't make it in center field. He'll probably be come off the bench. But now that Domingo Santana has really picked up he really broke through, we might now have him be able to trade him for some starting pitching, which would be very nice. We could really use another starting pitcher. Ryan Braun, you can move Brian Braun over to first base and expand Eric Thames and trade him with the great season he had. Now I'm suggesting, and according to rumors, I suppose the Brewers should trade Eric Thames and Domingo Santana. There's rumors that we're interested in Alex Cobb and Chris Archer. Those are very good players. Now, if you want Chris Archer, go ahead and include Domingo Santana in that deal. And and maybe a couple prospects, and that should get you Chris Archer. Then you bring Chris Archer in, and he'll be probably your third pitcher. Unless we sign somebody like Jake Arrieta or Yu Darvish, who we offered a contract to, which is very surprising according to rumors, but we don't know if that's true yet until it actually becomes official. It's only reports. It's only what we're being told. But it's very intriguing the Brewers are actually being aggressive, like they were in 2010. Maybe this time it turns out the right way and we actually get a bit farther. Now, I predict that we will trade Eric Thames. One or two options, I should say, actually. We go one or two routes. We go the route that we're going to trade Eric Thames, then we're going to move Ryan Braun over to first base, and then we're going to move Loranzo Cain to left field, Ryan Braun to first base, keep him healthy, he'll play longer. We get more for our money that we signed him to that long extension. Or we'll go the other route and we'll go ahead and trade Domingo Santana for a starting pitcher like Chris Archer and some other prospects, probably going to be another big package, blockbuster deal, like 4 prospects in order to get Chris Archer. But it'd be worth it if you can get Chris Archer to re-sign with us. Those are my 2 people I think we could trade. Then there's other rumors where they're saying that, we could trade Travis Shaw and try to sign Mike Moustakas. That one I'm a bit iffy on, but in a sense it does make sense because Travis Shaw did have a good year with us this year. But what are the sense of saying that he's going to do any better next year, or is he going to be the same way? I really hope he continues it, but we don't know that. I like the guy. I think he's a very good player. But Mike Moustakas has a lot more upside. He's established. Now, if it seems right, and we can get him for the right deal, then by all means, the Brewers should swing a deal for Mike Moustakas, sign him. But I think another thing that would make us a really competitive team would be to sign Yu Darvish. If we can get Yu Darvish, that would send a message in a waves throughout the National League Central and the MLB. The Brewers are serious on contending. And I'm thinking probably Yu Darvish, he's looking probably for something like a 4 or 5 year contract, around probably $80-90 million. That seems reasonable. And I think Yu Darvish would flourish with Milwaukee. Granted, the hitting we have, and in Miller Park. Even though Miller Park's a hitter's ballpark, but Darvish is a ground ball pitcher. But imagine if we were able to get Yu Darvish and Jake Arrieta, which I don't think that will happen, but if that happened, that would mean we got the division without a doubt. I just really think the Brewers are making the right moves, and David Stearns is doing all he can to make us impressive, and he's being smart about it and not letting the media know what we're doing so other teams can find out. I expect the Brewers continue to do some more trades. I feel there's going to be a couple more trades for the spring training starts and some signings. I expect Yu Darvish and Jake Arrieta to make their decision within the next couple weeks, and I really hope that they choose the Brewers. Either one of them, if not both of them. As much as that would, impossible that seems like it would be, I really hope that's the case. I expect the Brewers to be, last year they finished 86-76. According to reports, they're going to be around 73-89 this year, but I doubt that. There's no way. We overachieved last year, and we did really well. This year, I believe we can win around the same games. Now that we have Yelich and Loranzo Cain, depending on how healthy they stay and how well they perform, which I have no doubt that they will perform real well, hitting about 20 home